Hey guys, Zephyr here, and today in this video I'm going to be talking about Kozuki Odin, how Odin was misunderstood as a character. A lot of people in the community don't like Kozuki Odin for being called so lazy character development by Oda, but I disagree mostly because Oda tied all the themes of One Piece into building Odin's character arc. I will explain in this video, but first we have to talk about Odin himself. Kozuki Odin is a prominent character from One Piece, my second favorite character personally. He plays a significant role in the series, and his character is complex and multifaceted. Odin possesses an insatiable thirst for adventure and exploration. He leaves Wano in search for excitement, leading him to join the Roger Pirate, the crew of the Pirate King, Goldie Roger of course. This demonstrates his courage to step outside the confines of his home country and seek the unknown. Odin was an extremely brash, confident, carefree, and self-willed man. This motivated him to commit outrageous and violent actions for his own benefit during his youth and adolescence, such as fighting gamblers in a drunken rage, burning down the Yakuza casino after being banned from it, and kidnapping women at night to form a harem in the mountains. Unlike the other people in Wano, Odin didn't follow his strict rules and always did things to help people in his own way. He didn't care what other people thought about him, and also never wanted to be thanked whenever he helped others, kind of like Luffy when he helped people on the island that he saves. Kozuki Odin was first introduced into the story in chapter 960, introducing Kozuki Odin, where we learned that Wano was brimming with vegetation and life. Kozuki Sukiyaki prepared to disown his 18-year-old son Odin because Odin wanted to have fun, committing outrageous actions within his entire life. Odin put the flower citizens over the edge as he returned from a failed attempt to sail away once again and cooked a pot of Odin over a man's cremated remains. This kind of introduction into the story is important because it shows that Odin does not care at all about what people say about him, since he's literally cooking over a cremated body of some sort. Now, Odin is still very wrong for doing that, but it's very important to understand that he doesn't care what people think about him. Now, we can't talk about Odin without his retainers. I do want to talk about the kindness of Odin because of the mountain god incident with the white boar. Also, how he met all of his retainers. Game member Kinemon saw a very valuable white boar and took it to the capital. Danjiro told him possessing it would draw the wrath of his parents, which was the size of a mountain, known as the mountain god. Odin then approached the mountain god with its offspring and used Nitaru to cut it in half. Since he possessed the white boar, Odin took blame for the incident and received a notice from Sukiyaki that he had been disowned and exiled from the capital. Odin happily set off, and Kinemon and Danjiro decided to become his followers. The trio went to Hakumi to meet with the daimyo Shimonzuki Asui, who introduced them to his new servant Kurozumi Orochi. In Ringo, they encountered two starving children, Kikunojo, who later go on to become a Red Scabbard, and his older brother, Aizo, who would later become one of Whitebeard's division commanders. In Kibi, stories of a ghoul removing people's hair in order to create brushes end up being about Kanjuro. He begins to follow Odin after being defeated by him. Raizo, an old familiar of Odin's, developed a reputation in Odin as a mountain bandit, but comes to follow Odin once again. As in common in One Piece, Oda is building his little crew of strong people. That's certainly not good people, but they are very loyal to him. Then he met and fought and won Ashiro Dojo and all the Curry criminals, and they all started improving Curry and constructed the Curry Castle. That's how he meets and creates the legend of the 9 Red Scabbards. Odin's efforts to open Wano's borders and challenge his closed-off nature were met with resistance. Undeterred, he formed a group of 9 loyal retainers known as the 9 Red Scabbards. These samurai shared his vision for a new Wano and stood by his side, becoming instrumental in the plans for reform. Just from this intro alone, Oda wants to be free from the clutches of Wano and explore the world with all the vast islands that One Piece has to offer. Oda wants us to understand Odin's true motivation, since leaving Wano is a really bad idea, but Oda didn't listen to his retainers. Also, he wanted to explore the world to help Wano expand the borders for everyone to see the beautiful land that is called Wano. Odin also loves helping people, but he still wants to be a child in his own way, like when he stepped up to the challenge to pacify and improve Curry, but still acted like a child. When Odin improved Curry, he was just doing what he always does, helping people in need. Everyone around him, including the citizens of Curry, finally saw something good that he did. That's when everyone changed their minds about him being the villain, and that's when they finally saw him as a hero to the Curry citizens, and to Wano in general. Odin always had these traits in him since day one. Nevertheless, his father granted him the title of Daimyo Curry. All in all, Odin's character is the most common theme in One Piece. Who you are is not defined by people's perception of you, or you shouldn't care what people actually think of you. Odin was a good guy, but everyone in Wano thought he was being a bad guy to begin with. Just like in real life, everyone will turn on you if you're not socially acceptable in society's eyes. Now, the biggest question question is who is Odin? We learn about his character and how he does things after he comes back from seeing One Piece. While Odin was gone, Orochi was taken over the country and allied with Kaido to take over Wano Kuni. When Odin got to Wano and learned how Orochi abused his power and authority as the shogun by enslaving Wano citizens for his tyrannical greed, including executing an innocent man along with his family for defiance, Odin was outraged and did not blame his retainers for attacking Orochi for the injustice he caused. He is personally stormed into the flower capital to execute Orochi himself. When Odin learned from Orochi from his family being unjustly persecuted for his grandfather's crimes, and Orochi showed Odin a full room of hundreds of hostages to blackmail him, Odin accepted his demands of dancing naked weekly in the flower capital as an apology to the Kurozumi family in exchange for protecting the citizens for Orochi's vengeance, including saving the hundreds of kidnapped citizens that were meant as a tribute to Kaido. So Odin picks the choice where his pride and leadership will be questioned by everyone in Wano. Dances in the middle of the street acting like a fool and suffers public humiliation so that people will not die, which I don't know that is the better choice than just fighting Kaido, for instance, since he is stronger than Kaido apparently. I don't know how. He doesn't even have Conqueror's coding. That was the biggest thing for me, but I'm off topic. I get the premise of Odin's choice. Then the panel of Odin in the pot holding his samurai from the boiling hot water. Meaning behind the scenes much deeper than anyone who reads the manga casually. Now Odin has been in the pot for over 5 years technically, and will likely die there as not being a hero at all for the country of Wano. Until Shinobu screams to the onlookers about how Odin sacrificed himself for the country to prosper. All this comes together to one point. One man shielding himself in front of a nation to protect and support everyone around him, but himself. He will let himself boil other than everyone else to boil. A crazy flashback is also an important point to note. Only a man dies when he is forgotten. The story of Odin has always been in One Piece, hammering in the idea of perception and actuality. But there's a couple of flaws to point out in his character. Now, a lot of people don't like this type of writing because it's lazy and unoriginal. But to most people, Odin was always naive and soft-hearted, which can be taken advantage of by villains in the story such as Orochi and Kaido, making him dance for pendants of destroying his clan, and Odin always believed the good in Orochi, but that never happened and ended up being betrayed anyways. This flaw is supposed to be a noble flaw in the reader's eyes, but dancing for 5 years, continually taking a beating by Orochi for the people of Wano is pretty admirable to me. Then again, he was able to cut Kaido injured into a point where he could theoretically win the battle if it wasn't for a cheap trick. There was another flaw in Odin's character. Odin was selfish, and he was not willing for people to help him and always did everything by himself. For instance, when he left to fight Whitebeard by himself, he left all his retainers other than Aizo to fight and go explore the world with Whitebeard. And he was also, while exploring the world, would leave the crew behind and explore the islands when they landed, doing it even in Roger's crew as well. When Odin returned to Wano, he was angry at Orochi when he heard the news of him taking over the region. Basically, Odin wanted to do everything by himself and didn't want any help from anyone. Could be a huge weakness in my eyes. In my eyes, of course. Also, Odin's great flaw is Nami's great flaw. She refused Luffy's help and protected her village all by herself until Arlong betrayed her and the villagers decided to fight for themselves. Then Nami asked for help. Odin's flaw is that he took everything upon himself, and Wano's flaw is that they let him and they let their spirit get crushed. They should have protected him the same way he did for them. Now, Momo has Odin's will, has asked Luffy for help as well. Odin and Nami actually parallel each other really well. She made a deal with the person who took control of her home to protect her people. Odin danced for 5 years, Nami raised 100 million berries, but Arlong never truly intended to honor their agreement. He sent that marine to collect her money. Orochi never planned on honoring his agreement with Odin. Kaido just knew he couldn't beat Odin right then. Nami became an Arlong pirate and became hated by her people for her betrayal. And Odin became a fool and hated by his people for disappointing them and betraying their faith in him. And then Luffy came along and defeated the evil oppressing her freedom. Odin knew he needed to open the borders for 20 years into the future, but he died. But now Luffy is there to defeat the evil oppressing Odin's people and freedom to open their borders himself. If you guys made it this far, I appreciate it. Thank you. I literally will pray for you tonight on God. But regardless, I hope you guys enjoyed this analysis about Odin. I absolutely love Odin, and I would do anything to make another video like this, even though it took a fucking long time. But regardless, man, hope you guys subscribe, like the video, and yeah, Zephyr's out, man.